Popular social media superstar, the renowned content creator, the serial risk taker, and undefeated fighter, introducing the problem child, Jake Paul!
Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
There's no
good.
That ain't gonna do anything.
You're doing really good. All right.
Before the fight was the early rounds could be decisive, and it is quite clear.
Leyenda continúa. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
The fight, valiant effort by both guys. Nothing was left in the corners. Nothing was left in the gym.
Well, Jake, how'd you feel in there?
I just felt flat, man. Not my best performance. I guess that happens in the sport. You know, you got to peak right at the right moment. You only get one night, one chance, and I messed that up, I guess. But didn't think I'd ever have to make one of these videos, but it happens, I guess. This is still the best job in the world. Thank you all for the support. This was an amazing event, and I'll be back.
No, Jake, I know there was a lot of talk about him and his power. You took his shots pretty well, and you knocked him
no,
out.
his power wasn't that crazy. He just had good speed, good combinations.
Yeah.
But Anderson and Tyron hit really hard, so I was used to that.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Boxing, man, you got to take it on the chin. But it was good, some good moments in there. I just really couldn't get my game plan working. But hey, man, this is what the sport's all about. You win some in glorious fashion, and you lose some. And like I said out there, judging me on my losses because I'll be back. I think he was just really well prepared, and I think it was more so
As the clash between Jake Paul and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. draws near, DAZN Boxing dropped an exclusive featuring the two fighters. Along with interviews from notable guests who backed Jake Paul, Armen Sarukian expressed admiration for the 28-year-old, stating, "Jake's a legend because to start this late and still look sharp isn't easy." Paul's ambition to silence critics left a strong impression on the UFC star. But what shocked him most was Jake's quickness and footwork despite his large frame. "I'm surprised by his size. He's huge and hits hard," said Sarukian, adding that Jake moves like a seasoned pro. Confident in Paul's preparation, he predicted victory. On paper, betting on Jake to defeat Chavez might seem unrealistic, but given Chavez Jr.'s track record in recent fights, a case could be made for the YouTuber-turned-fighter. Interestingly, Armen isn't alone in backing Paul for the June 28th bout. Another legend from the fight world, a 6th-division world champ, made a bold forecast that stunned fans. Oscar De La Hoya, the head of Golden Boy Promotions, is keeping tabs on the event as two of his fighters, Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez and Floyd Schofield, are part of the undercard. With Golden Boy Promotions co-promoting the night, De La Hoya turned up the hype just days before the match. The 52-year-old added flair in classic Golden Boy fashion by giving his predictions, while removing his robe and appearing in underwear, making a statement. "It's fight week, Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. I'll break it down Golden Boy style," he said. He confidently picked Raul Curiel, Floyd Schofield, and Zurdo Ramirez to win their undercard matches, but his pick for the main event raised eyebrows after a close fight. "Jake Paul wins by split decision in round 12, said De La Hoya, calling Paul the favorite. The Jake Paul experiment rolls on this Saturday, as the influencer-turned-boxer squares off with former middleweight champ Chavez Jr. This is Paul's second straight matchup against an ex-world champion, following his win over the 58-year-old Mike Tyson in November. Though Chavez isn't in his 50s, at 39, he's far removed from his prime. Even at his best, Chavez Jr. never quite stepped out of his father's enormous shadow and dealt with many controversies throughout his career. I don't think he's good. He works, he trains, but he's not a good fighter. Chavez Jr. stated bluntly at the final presser. He's not a real boxer. If he were, everyone here would be a legend. He's just not that good and everyone sees it, he continued. Ironically, that makes Chavez Jr. a fitting opponent for Paul. Jake has consistently faced aging fighters beyond their primes, yet he continues drawing massive attention. After beating fellow YouTuber Onesson Gibb in his debut, Paul knocked out former NBA star Nate Robinson. He then racked up wins over ex-UFC fighters like Ben Askren, Tyron Woodley twice, and Anderson Silva, though he narrowly lost to Tommy Fury. Via split decision, Paul bounced back by beating Nate Diaz. He also took on to actual boxers Andre August and Ryan Berland, stopping both in the first round. While those fights made sense for a novice pro, they lacked star power and didn't generate public buzz, pushing Paul to return to fighting former MMA names. Against Mike Perry, Paul delivered his 7th knockout win, brutalizing the bare-knuckle veteran before booking the Tyson bout. Despite the hype, the Tyson fight underwhelmed, with Paul boxing cautiously and appearing reluctant to hurt the legend. Which brings us to Jake Paul versus Chavez Jr. Chavez carries name recognition, past championship experience, and a traditional boxing background. But like most of Paul's opponents, he's past his prime and not naturally built for the cruiserweight limit. He's a big name, a legend. I like taking on legendary names. He's on my path to becoming world champion, Paul said at the final press conference. This fight is tough, very tough, but I'm here to test myself and aim high. In this sport, after Saturday, I'm going for a title shot, he promised. To Paul's credit, he nearly secured a bout with Saul Canelo Alvarez until it became apparent that Canelo used the negotiations as leverage before inking a 3-fight deal with Riyadh Season. And now, Paul is back to what he knows best, taking on recognizable names that still offer an edge in credibility but present manageable risk. Chavez Jr., despite being far from elite, has trained as a professional boxer for most of his life. That makes him a slightly more legitimate threat than past MMA fighters Paul's faced. That's all for now. For the latest in boxing's biggest moments, upsets, and stories, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you don't miss when we drop top-tier content. Until next time, peace.